I'm doing something I have not done before, and I'm really excited to try it with you guys. I am working on lip syncing my character, my dragon, to a song. For those of you out there who have tried animating or like to watch animation, you'll often see those kind of animating videos that are done to music, and every once in a while the character will look like it's singing along. Well, I wanted to try that, only a very small portion of the song, because this is my first time doing it, and I want to let you know all the things that I learned and found when I was animating my character. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you to all the new subscribers that randomly showed up. I don't know why the algorithm looked at me with favor, but I'll take it. So let's get into it. So those of you that don't know, I'm working on an animation that I hope to... I'm not going to put a date on it, actually. I have no idea when this is going to be done. I really want to get it done here soon, but animating just takes so long, so I'm not going to put a date on it. So the first thing that I did before I started animating on this project at all was I made a character sheet. Some of you may have seen it when I was trying to do different colors. But this is my character sheet, just simple. It's just a dragon from a side view, its wing, and a couple facial expressions. So I started off like most people do with all drawings, as you start off with your sketch. So I just kind of blocked out what I thought maybe the letters sound like. You can see in my sketch that right beside the character, I have written various letters. So I went and listened to the song at a slower speed, so that I could really pick out when a word was being said, because it's sung, right? So everything's kind of dragged out a little bit longer than it would be if you're just saying these words. So I wanted to make sure I really pinpointed exactly when the word started, if that makes any sense. So for example, you can see at these last two frames, I have the letter B for the B noise, so like the closed mouth noise, and then on the next frame I have a series of E's to represent the long E at the end of the verse. And like I said before, because it's sung, it's a lot longer than if I were just to say the word B. It's B. And so I have to remember that when I'm animating. So I think before even starting doing any of the actual fine sketches, just like your really blocked in sketches, I think writing down the broken pieces of words next to the potential frames is a really good way to get started. I think I've seen this when watching like sketched scenes of other animators or of, behind the scenes Disney movies. You can kind of see these letters flash by, and I think that's what they are. So I thought I'd try it and see if it helped, and it really, really did. I think that starting out your first ever lip sync, that sounds so strange to say, but starting out with your first character singing along to a song, I think you should pick a very small portion of the song to try it, or at least if you're making a long animation, only put a small portion of that animation to lip syncing, just because I think if I did any section longer than what I did, I would have been really overwhelmed with how many words I'd have to get right. And it's one of those things that we all talk, we all see people talk, so you kind of subconsciously know what talking is supposed to look like. And so when you watch an animated character talk on screen, it's really easy to tell if it's done wrong, or especially if you're animating people. That's why I chose to do a dragon, because we haven't seen dragons talk, right? So it's not like it's so ingrained in us, so you can get away with it a little bit more. Definitely not saying that I did this dragon perfectly. There are many mistakes. I want to clarify that I am not a experienced animator. Animating's kind of something I just do for fun. I did it off and on when I was younger, and I've slowly got back into it. It's so time consuming that I just do it as a hobby on the side while I'm watching TV or something. I think I've definitely grown a more appreciation to it, especially since watching some of Aaron Blaze's videos. If you don't know who he is a animator that used to work for Disney, and he is incredibly talented, and definitely should go check him out. But as I'm sure you can tell from my animations, I am no professional. And all these things that I'm going to be mentioning in this video are just my experiences of what I've learned. I haven't done necessarily a bunch of research on these things. It's just when I was animating, these are the things that I was like, oh, I want to do this differently, or something I want to remember to take forward in my next project. So I think when animating a character singing or talking, it's important to add other movements, not just the mouth. I think that's self-explanatory. Your character's kind of acting, right? And when you see people talk, there's a lot of body language involved. And so I think that is definitely an important part of animating a character saying something. I think I did this kind of subconsciously. I wasn't intentionally when I did my sketches, I wasn't like, oh, I gotta make sure it moves in this very specific way in order to add emotion or whatnot. I probably should have done that. That is what you should do. But I just I was like, oh, I just made a roundish arc motion. I also kind of like adding other movements around in my animation to kind of distract from how unexperienced I am in this area of animation. One thing that I want to do in the future, if I do this again, is I want to note the jaw. When the mouth opens and closes, I didn't pay a lot of attention to actually where the jaw connects to the face. I should have, now looking back, but I'm not going to go and redo it now because that is just so much time. But I did it a couple times on a couple letter sounds, but I didn't pay conscious attention to it like I wish I did. I think that's something that I would like to do in the future. Another thing that I should have done but was honestly just too lazy to do is do a full turnaround of your character, or at least your character's head. Because when I was trying to do this lip syncing, I didn't have that kind of mental image of it, or that hand practice. No, I did have a mental image. I didn't have the hand practice on to draw the character's head at so many angles. And I had it facing down and then going up and then turning facing forward and going down again. I didn't have any sort of reference for the character, so I think it gets distorted a bit. I was able to fix it some when I went back and did the line work, but it still is a little distorted on how the character would actually look. So I think taking the time to draw your character in a full turnaround and really understanding the shapes of its face and its head would really do you a huge favor when actually animating a moving lip sync. That's definitely something I think I will try to take forward in the future, even though I know it's just like, isn't this so boring, just turning your character in a circle or making a character sheet of every possible angle, but it really is so helpful. And if you're animating, you're drawing this character like hundreds of times anyways, so what's a few more? Now, this is something that I learned while animating that I didn't know, or I don't know what it's actually called. I'm going to use my own terms for it because I don't know. It probably has some real terms for it. But what I learned is that each letter sound or portion of a word had a main movement or like mouth position and then a transition movement. And when I was first blocking out my animation, I didn't really think about that. So when I was drawing it, I was like, okay, so the T looks like this. Draw what the T noise looked like. And then I'd be like, okay, the A noise looks like this. But I didn't really think about that there is that transition from the T to the A that is really important and really sells the movement. So I ended up adding a couple more transitions between some of the frames, like for the tongue movement and for the O noise. So I think that helps sell it a little bit better, but that was something I wasn't aware of when I first started doing this lip sync. So I think that's just a kind of a good thing to know, is that, I mean, it's probably just basic animating, and I don't know that you want to make sure that you're really transitioning those words properly. And in a song, sometimes, or in a string of words, like a sentence, that the word noises and positions won't be as stark as they would if you just said the word on its own. Like, sometimes words in a song especially kind of bleed into each other, and you have to be aware of that. So when you're going back and listening to the song slowly, you definitely want to be aware of what words kind of bleed into each other and animate your character accordingly. Alright, so this is the finished lip sync. Here's also just a little sneak peek of the animation to come that I hope I will finish before the end of the year, but I am not promising that. Don't quote me on that, but I hope to. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed and maybe learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!